During this lesson, you're going to sketch orthographic and isometric views of a cylinder. When you finish the drawing, it should look like this. We're going to start drawing the front or the round face of the cylinder first. So just ghost over the top of the page, then that will help us get a nice parallel baseline to put the elevation, the front facing circle on. Then turn your page and draw the crate, which is going to be a square that the circle will fit inside perfectly. We'll just move in a little bit closer here. You're going to follow the technique for drawing the circle. Start by drawing diagonal lines, okay? Rehearse your lines first and then draw diagonal lines, as you can see here, between the corners. This will find the center of the square, which is the center of the circle. Now we're going to draw through the center parallel to the top line, as you can see here. So again, ghost over and rehearse the direction of those parallel lines so they work out exactly. Next, what you're going to do is just split the line between the outside and the center into three roughly equal parts, into thirds, as you can see. Now I'm going to use my hand like a compass, and I'm going to draw a quarter circle from this point and to this point. The trick is to go straight out and to come straight on, as you can see here, so that the quarter circle works well. Again, turn the page so you can use your hand like a compass. Split the line up into thirds, and using that technique where you come straight off and go straight in to form that quarter circle. Again, don't forget to turn the page, and the next step is just splitting this line here up into thirds, just as a guide, as a reference for where the line goes, so when you come straight out and go straight in to get the nice smooth curve. Then turn the page so you can repeat the process for the last quarter circle, just estimating those thirds as a guide and going straight out and straight in, and then commit to the line, as you can see here. Again, I'm just going to turn the page as I define these lines as detail lines to help them stand out from the construction lines. Right, next we're going to draw the plan of the cylinder. So looking from above like this. So the first thing we're going to do is draw construction lines or projection lines going up from the elevation from the circle that we've just drawn here, as you can see. Next, what we're going to do is just decide on a distance between the two views. So just ghosting over the top of the elevation and then deciding how far up it's going to go. Again, we're going to be pretty much using the aspect ratio for a square. Now I'll just detail over those lines, and that's the plan view of the cylinder finished. Now let's just bear in mind that although it looks like a square, the two circles will be on those sides and the curve is, as you can see here, looking down on it. Next, we're going to draw the view from the right hand side, an end elevation. So start by extending the baseline and then drawing the height of the cylinder horizontally across, as you can see. We'll actually use the 45-degree line of the cylinder to help project up at 45 degrees, and then using the plan for the width, which is going to project horizontally across until we hit that 45-degree line. Again, turn your page, ghost over a vertical line, and use that so that you get perfect vertical lines coming down from that 45-degree line. And you can see now that we have formed in construction lines the end elevation. So we'll just detail that in now. Okay, again we're going to use the same technique. So we're going to look from the left hand side and project across at the top and the bottom to give us the height of the end elevation, and using that 45-degree line that we've already got from the front view from the circle, we'll just continue it and project up, and again from the plan we'll project horizontally across the top and the bottom of the plan, and then once we hit that 45-degree line we'll project down. So again, just ghosting over a vertical line so that when we do draw on the vertical lines we know they're all parallel. And now we've formed the end elevation, we can detail it in, as you can see here. Now we're going to start drawing the three isometric views at the bottom of the page. To start with, we'll draw a horizontal line, so just a quick ghost over the bottom of the page to get a parallel line, and then I'm going to turn the page so that I can get a perpendicular line for the leading edge of the crate that the cylinder will sit inside. Now I want to draw a line up from that intersection at 30 degrees. This is an estimate, but this is how we're going to do it. We know that the angle between the horizontal and vertical line is a right angle, or 90 degrees. In order to get a good estimate, we're going to split the angle into three: the 30 degrees, 30 degrees, and 30 degrees, making the 90. We're interested in the lower 30 degree line that you can see here. So you're going to sketch in as good an estimate at that 30 degrees as you can. Now once you've done that, you're going to apply the same technique, the same way of thinking, to construct the 30 degree line going up to the left from that bottom intersection. So just like this, your best estimate at 30 degrees again. Okay, now you're going to estimate how far back the crate goes that the cylinder will sit inside. So once we decided that, just ghost over the leading edge so you get a nice parallel back edge like this, and in the same way estimate how far back you're going, ghost over the leading edge, and that will ensure you get a good parallel line for the back edge you can see here. Now we're going to decide on the height. Now it's a square, so right there, and in the same way ghosting over the bottom edge to get a parallel line for the top one, and on the left hand side do the same, just so that you've got perfectly parallel lines going on. Now for the back edge, we don't need to measure anything, we just need to ghost over those edges to make sure they're all parallel with each other, and do the same for that final back edge that you can see there. Now we're ready to start forming the isometric circle in this left hand face here. I'm going to draw the circle now, and we'll follow pretty much the same process as we did for the elevation. Start with the diagonals from each corner, as you can see here. Again, turn your page so you get the best possible straight line between those corners, and then we're going to draw the lines through the diagonal intersection. Okay, first of all maybe the vertical line, and then the equivalent of the horizontal line, even though it's at 30 degrees. So just ghost over the top edge to get the same angle, a nice parallel line, as you can see here. Again, it's the same technique as the circle in the elevation, where we draw 4 arcs. This time though, 2 arcs are quite sharp and 2 arcs are a little bit shallower, as you'll see as we go. We're still going to put those third marks in as a helpful indication of where the curve should go through, and then in exactly the same way we come off the line straight and go onto the line straight to give us a good arc in isometric. Then turning your page so you can use your hand like a compass, just coming straight off the line and going straight on, straight off and straight on. Again, turn your page so that you can use your hand like a compass to make it easy and effective, and follow the same process, straight on and straight off. And again, turn the page for that final curve. Now this is one of the 2 tighter curves that we have to go around, so just using that same technique, following the line straight, turning and then going straight on. Now we need to identify the back surface that the isometric circle is going on, which will be here. So in order to draw in where that surface is exactly, we just need to have this line here going up to the top corner, and if we follow this 30 degree line, because it's a perfect cube, it should look like this. Now we can see where that circle is going to fit. We've already got one diagonal line there, so now we'll just draw the second line between those 2 corners, as you can see here, and then we'll just use this back vertical line to draw in the line here, and we'll use the top back edge to get a parallel line running here. And now we've got what we need to get started drawing that circle, as you can see. So in exactly the same way, just establishing those thirds to give us a little bit of a guide, and then there's the tight circle. Again, straight in and straight off, as you can see, and then just form the shape of the curve, and then again just a little estimate of the thirds so that we can see where we're going. Straight in and straight off those edges, and the same on the bottom left of the circle, just as a guide, and then going straight in and straight off. Now we don't need this last quarter circle because it's obscured by the shape of the cylinder. So what we're going to do now is just join those two circles together. Now there'll actually be a parallel line to the outside of the crate, as you can see, a parallel line to the outside of the crate, and then we can just draw them in like this, and there we've got our first isometric cylinder. Now we'll just darken in these lines to separate them clearly from the construction lines of the drawing. Next we're going to draw another view of the cylinder with a different orientation. So again, start with the baseline and the perpendicular vertical leading edge of the crate. Once you've got that, you're going to form the 30-degree lines from the intersection at 30 degrees up to the right and at 30 degrees up to the left, as you can see here. Okay, and again we'll decide on the width for the shape or the cube crate that we're drawing the cylinder in. Ghost over the leading edge to get a parallel vertical line, and again just a nice estimate for the width to the left. Ghost over and get a good parallel line. Then we'll decide on the height, as you can see, just about here, and get a parallel line to the right hand 30 degrees and a parallel line to the left hand 30 degrees. Once we've got this, we can just use that same technique to get the two back edges, as you can see here. We're going to be drawing the isometric circle on the top of this shape here and the bottom. So what we need to do first of all, on the top we need to draw the diagonal line. So we can just continue that line up and then draw a diagonal line between the two opposing corners, as you can see here. And in the same way as before, we're going to draw a line parallel to this 30 degrees through the diagonal line intersection, and a parallel line to here as well through those intersections. Now, following exactly the same process for the four arcs, split it roughly into third, just as an indication where the curve should follow, and straight on and straight off roughly through that third. Again, using your hand like a compass, so turning the page to help you. There's our thirds, and coming straight on and straight off those lines. And again, turn the page. Check where the thirds are and use them just as a guide when we're coming on and going off to get a nice smooth curve running from one quarter circle or arc to the next. And here's the last one, just doing exactly the same thing, coming straight off and coming straight on. Right, now you've got that, we can form the circle that the cylinder's sitting on, the bottom of the shape here. So again, just at 30 degrees, we'll just follow that line and it should match up nicely. And turn the page just to get that 30-degree line from the bottom right hand corner, and we can see that surface now, and there's already one diagonal. So we'll just draw the second horizontal diagonal and then finish the shape in exactly the same way as we did at the top. Right, now we're going to join those isometric circles up. And when we do that, they are going to be parallel to the edges of the constructed crate that we did, like you can see here as well, just parallel to the crate. Okay, now we'll just do the third and final isometric of a cylinder, this time orientated on its side to the right. So again, starting in exactly the same way with the vertical line and the two slope lines going off at 30 degrees, and then estimating the size widthwise and then figuring out how tall it will be, or in proportion as a cube. Again, drawing the edges at 30 degrees parallel to the two bottom edges, and finishing off the crate with the two back edges, as you can see here. Now we're going to do this right hand face as the isometric circle. So again, diagonal lines and then parallel lines to the top through the diagonal intersection and parallel line to the leading edge. Once we've done that, estimating the thirds and working our curves, coming straight out from the line and going straight in to the next edge, as you can see here. Just repeating that for all of the 4 arcs. Again, exactly the same for the back surface, which has an isometric circle in it, putting in the diagonal lines and putting in the parallel lines through the diagonals, as you can see, and just working on those 3 arcs this time, because the bottom right one is obscured by the front of the shape anyway. And once we've got that on, what we can do is just use the parallel lines to get the edges. And some rendering to the end elevations at the moment will just help explain the nature of the curved surface coming towards us. So what will happen is it just gets darker as it gets further away from us, and the highlight is at the closest point on the curved surface. We'll render the curved surface of the plan as well to indicate the curve, but this will be going in a different direction, as you can see here, just indicating that the lowest points again are further away where the render is darker, and then coming up to the highlight at the top. And we'll do the same with the 3 isometric 3D versions of the cylinder, just starting with a dark render and working up towards a highlight, as you can see here, just helping to indicate the nature of the shape. Rendering all the views helps give the drawing more impact and brings all the shapes together.